So, I would like to talk about prepping. And this is coming from a Portlander, a currently still blue haired Portlander. So, if you think this is coming from some kind of crazy right winger, no. This is coming from someone who was born here in Portland, but is watching just a shit show that cannot be ignored and has experienced violence personally, like been put in the hospital on a level that I've never before in my life. So, what brought this about was last October, I was beaten until I couldn't even remember what was happening. Um, a street gang that takes over intersections and spins cookies, a drag racing gang, had taken over an intersection in downtown Portland, and I was heading down there to pick up a food order from a food cart um, where they had taken over the intersection. I thought it was a protest, and I'd been attending protests since Occupy, and I wasn't scared of it. I, it was a dumb move on my part, but I asked someone what was going on because I didn't see protest signs. Like, hey, what's this about? And white person asking questions. Obviously, he's racist. And this woman who turned her car sideways to block the intersection took offense to the question, started trying to attack me, chest bumping me, and as soon as I pushed her off of me, I heard some scrawny little kid yell out, "He just put his hands on a woman of color!" And that was it. Every single person in every direction rushed at me to beat me to death. And there were only 5 people who tried to stop it. They actually surrounded me after about a minute and a half of beating and kept the crowd at bay and saved my life. And I have not been unarmed since. Now, I grew up in the Northwest Pagan community. I mean, I lean more towards Buddhism, but I grew up pagan. You don't get racists out of the pagan community. But, oh my God. They were screaming, "Kill the white supremacist." It's insane. And I'm the kind of person, I've always paid attention to what's going on, and I know that the news, A, only reports a portion of what actually happened, a tiny portion. And B, they lie about almost everything. They lie on Fox, they lie on MSNBC, they lie on CNN. If it's on TV, they're lying. Everyone has an agenda. And so when you want to know what's going on, you have to be very diverse in your sources of information. And my favorite is the DEF CON conferences, the hacker conferences. They show how vulnerable every piece of technology is. And there are other groups associated with them or that have members in common. There was a presentation once showing how the types of pumps used in almost everything industrial can be hacked and cause explosions. So I'd known about this for a while, And we're being hacked constantly, and it's not appearing on the news. My fear is a 100% grid down situation, because the types of people that nearly killed me and that keep lighting police stations on fire, they do this because there are no consequences. The woman who led the attack against me, I found her mugshot. The police actually arrested her not long after that for something completely unrelated, which is her normal taking over intersections and the kind of shit that her gang does. It was a gang attack, but unfortunately, the way the police handle, parties in the street, they just allow everything to happen. When I finally did make it to the police line, which was a block away from where I was nearly killed, they told me they were aware of everything, and they'd make a report. But she was right there screaming at me, trying to get me to fight her in front of the police, and they would not arrest her. They threatened me because I picked up a pipe to defend myself against her and the other people who were trying to still fight me. I had red dots all over me, and blood. The red dots being from the weapons of the police saying, "Drop the pipe." And I just looked at them like, "You're not going to protect me. Are you going to protect me if I drop the pipe? Because they're going to head right at me. And you did nothing about it." Never unarmed anymore. Never. So these are the people that will take over everything the moment we no longer have the ability to call the police, or the police have the ability to respond. And if the grid goes down the way it did when the entire East Coast went down years back, and I'm not talking like years and years and years ago, I'm talking like, I think it was like 5-6 years ago. It was not that long ago. And no consequences means psychopaths run everything. And the psychopaths are about 2% of the general population. I think it's like 3% of the population are sociopaths. And so, combined 5% of the population are just waiting to not get caught or arrested, and they will do anything they like to anyone they like. And they did it to me. So how do you prepare for something like this? Obviously a firearm, obviously. But that won't save you from anything more than just violence. You still need other things in order to survive. You need shelter. You need water. You need food. Look at Maslow's hierarchy and know that a person who is not having those needs met will lose their mind and behave like a wild animal. People are nothing more than animals with bigger brains. And when logic fails us, all bets are off. We're tooth and claw. So be prepared for unprepared people, and be prepared yourself so that you don't become one of them, because they will die. They will kill other people, but they will also die. Probably at the hands of people like me, because I will not die. I am prepared. I have the ability to clean water. I have a rather large supply of food waiting to go. And I have a tiny home built out of a horse trailer that can run off-grid with off-grid power and can clean water from any source, I'm ready to go. And I'd like to talk about some of those preparations. Now, when I said a firearm is necessary, I mean maybe 2 or 3, but don't spend all your money on guns and ammo. You're wasting it. Because chances are you're not prepared the way I'm prepared. And you're going to have to go on foot. And that shit is heavy. You're going to need other things to carry with you. Now, my bug out bag is really nice. And I've been working on it for quite some time, filling in all of these little gaps. Because I know that when shit happens, I'm probably not going to be home. And getting home may or may not be possible over the road. Here's a scenario for you, because we know these hackings are more and more common, and more of everything that's a part of our daily life is digital, including cars. So, grid is taken offline. Everything is dark. No water because of the pumping stations. You know, they need electricity too. But the cars also get hacked. From DEF CON and associated groups, we know that cars that are connected through the cell phone towers, which is what it is, it's like 3G, 4G, 5G integrated into the cars. Kind of like my CPAP machine. That actually is also connected through the cell phone towers. It paddles on me. It reports my use to my doctor. These cars can be hacked remotely, and remotely the brakes can be disabled, and remotely the accelerator can be pushed all the way down. Imagine every vehicle connected through the cell phone towers. Right before the grid goes down, brakes are disabled, accelerator all the way to the floor. Everyone driving during rush hour traffic is suddenly gunning it and cannot stop. Accidents everywhere. All the freeways shut down. All the roads blocked off. Just chaos and death and people screaming. Then the grid goes dark. And then the psychopaths come out to play. This is a scenario that's on my mind when I prepare my bug out bag. No food, no water, absolute chaos, city's a death trap, and I have to go. My bag is set up so that I can filter water out of a river because my tiny home is inaccessible currently. I mean, if I can get out, I will. If I can get it out, I will. But I'm prepared with my current bag that goes on my back to be able to take water out of a river and filter it for drinking. I have enough dehydrated food in that bag probably to last me a good week. I've been playing with these pretty much as toys, but if you're going to take a survival rifle with you, I would actually suggest an air gun that fires BBs. And here's why. 9mm limits you. in the number of shots that you can carry. In the same amount of space that you could carry 100 rounds of 9mm, you could carry a couple thousand rounds or more of BBs. And I've seen, I mean, they're a little more expensive, like the Gammo air rifle. They're quiet. When you fire it, it's like, and that's it. You're not alerting everyone around you to the shot that you just took at a duck. And this right here, duck call. It's a part of my bug out kit. It's not the only one. Now, I've maybe been using these things in ways that I shouldn't. I am not happy about the psycho druggies walking down the street butt-ass naked. And I can't post it on YouTube. I did, but it got removed, and it was a violation of community guidelines. Even though it's the reality that I see every day. Let's see if I can get this to one to work. That's a fawn. They don't make that noise a lot, but a short, quick, that could attract a buck. I mean, I don't do it well. I haven't practiced it well enough, and I've been trying to find audio clips of what they really do sound like so I can imitate it as good as possible. But that's me. Most of what I carry in my bag is just rice and dehydrated vegetables. I then find some water, which there are a lot of rivers around here, a lot of rivers and creeks, and so finding water isn't the problem. Making it drinkable is. So with that capability and enough dehydrated stuff in my kit, I can survive a good long time. And if I find some meat to add to it, oh, now we're talking. Got a big-ass machete. I love Cabela's. But the machete on one side is a saw. I can now cut lumber to make a fire. And I can make a really nice pile of burnable, there's dead trees everywhere. You don't have to cut down a living tree. There's just, it's not hard to find the material to make a fire. Strike anywhere matches, lighters, things like that. Big, not a big part of my kit, but it's there. But also little fire starter, which is kind of like a waxy material. It burns for like a good 5 minutes with just a tiny little chunk of it. You can actually get a good bonfire going. A medical kit. Oh my God. I cannot stress how important it is to have a good medical kit. Now, I started with buying just one of the larger medical first aid kits, but then I added to it. I packed that thing tight. You have to have antidiuretics. At some point, you're going to drink or eat something that is going to poison you. And if you do not have those, you are going to shit out every last bit of moisture you have and die from dehydration. Pain relievers, big one for me. Ever since that attack, I go through a lot of Tylenol and ibuprofen. So my kit contains well more than a couple weeks worth. Bandages. Okay, here's one. Fishing line. And yes, I included fishing hooks and some bait. But the fishing line is useful for more than just that. You could set up tripwires so that if someone comes near your camp, it'll make noise. That could save your life. That could also keep you from ending up in a situation where you wake up and everything is gone. That's probably going to happen, but you might be able to prevent it a couple times. Eventually, someone who's privy to what you've done, who may have even watched you set up the trip line, is going to rob you. A well-trained dog. Yeah. It's a good alert system. They will hear things that you don't. They will be a little more alert than you, maybe. And I've seen some dogs that, yeah, never mind. This. See, what else? What else? What else? See, I know I kept stuffing a lot of stuff in that medical kit. Scissors, absolutely need that. Um, Alcohol prep pads, so that when you need to, I don't know, fix someone's gaping injury, you can not cause them an infection or cause yourself an infection. So someone is very likely to be using your medical kit on you. And if you have people that you care about, prepare one of these per person. You can't save everyone, but you can damn well try to be ready to do so. Soap. Gotta have soap. I've personally filled some containers with Dr. Bonner's soap. That's kind of concentrated, great for everything, including washing off, like, even food, to wash off produce. Um, it's You can use it on the dishes. You can use it on everything, and you won't. If you care about the environment when this shit happens, you won't be destroying like a natural waterway, because it's while concentrated, it is still also non-toxic. Um, Man, rubbing alcohol. The prep pads aren't going to be enough. You might have to sterilize some stuff in order to treat wounds, which will happen because you will be going through hell. Um, let's see, what else? What else? What else? What else? Mine contains a gas mask. I expect war, so I got an army surplus. Not even, I think it's Swiss army surplus. Some European army surplus gas mask. Um, One per person. It's down in that bag, but it's there. Um, Cliff energy bars, lots of them. At least that's the one I chose. They have some caffeine in them. You can help keep you going, because it might be a while before you reach a place where you can even set up camp. You might have to just keep walking and walking and walking and walking and walking. So you want to be able to keep walking. So some immediately ready to eat food that takes up as little space as possible is advisable. So I bought boxes of Cliff energy bars, and I opened up the box just a little bit so I could take one box of them and start shoving individual bars into the other boxes until every last bit of space was filled. I also included some Nature Valley granola bars and raisins. Raisins mostly because they are high in potassium, and I have a problem with potassium. Um, I have some other medical stuff that I put in there that is specific to me. If you have anything specific to you, make sure you have it with you. What else? What else? What else? What else? A tent. I'm going to go in luxury. And I found a tent that is about the right. It's small enough to go in my bag, large enough to be worth having at all. Some rope. You know, you might need to improvise some structure. You might need to improvise a lot of things, quite honestly. You'll be glad you had it. A sewing kit. That's another one. You have what you have with you, and you need to keep it usable. A sewing kit, you might need it for stitches, not just what you're wearing. You'll be glad you have that with you at some point. And that's just a tiny little cylinder that has a lot of little needles in it. I bought it from Joann's Fabric, along with some upholstery thread, strongest thread I could find. That's it's definitely an important part of a kit. Um, and these little things of their water flavor, like flavor water enhancers. And I got that because I also got water purification tablets. You can find these at you can find them at Sportsman's, you can find it at Cabela's, you can find it sometimes in Army surplus stores. Um, most most people who are military who go out with a backpack on patrol, they have these with them because they might need to drink water that is not the water they brought with them. They'll need to refill somewhere else. They are uncertain about whether or not the water is tainted. The purification tablets kill any microbes in the water. Now, I would use these purification tablets in the water, let it sit for 4 hours, or even 8 if I could, and then run it through my filtration system. So that way, I do not introduce living microbes to my filter, and I can use that filter again without poisoning myself. And after that, I put some of this water flavor stuff in it, which also contains electrolytes, which you will be depleted of, especially out in the sun. What else? Depending on some of these water filtration kits, it's not just tablets. Sometimes it's a two-part thing, and the second chemical you add actually neutralizes the first, making the water safer to drink. There's a lot of different ways to sterilize water on the go. I would prefer my trailer where I have UV light, basically sterilizing the water in the first barrel and in the second. So it's and not every UV light does that. You actually have to make sure it's within a certain frequency range, and UV light in general does not kill bacteria. It's a specific UV range that you want to hit, and so you really got to nerd out with it and know that what you're setting up is doing what it's supposed to do. Um, a lot of these UV lights that claim to kill bacteria do not do that, so you shouldn't trust that. Um, let's see, there is so much more stuff in that bag. I wish I could remember it all. Um, let's see here. I actually have it in the car currently. Oh, well, this is half of it. Um, two of these connect together. Man. Yeah, I got a lot of junk in here. Well, I can't find the other half currently. Ah, here it is. Fork, spoon, knife, and it breaks apart so you can sit down for a meal and open a can. The knife and the spoon are on the same side, mostly because if you're going to use the knife, you're probably using the fork too, like a nice piece of meat or something. No one ever uses the knife and the spoon at the same time. So these are like $4. Honestly, I end up having more use for it in the car because when I'm out delivering, I'll pick up some Panda Express, and there's not much I can eat because of my keto diet currently. But you think, well, you're eating Panda Express? That's certainly not keto. Steamed vegetable, grilled chicken, no sauce. It's keto friendly. It it's working. But yeah, I mean, I can't think of much else. But that kit, that could get me home, or that could get me out of here. I could survive for a week, maybe 2 weeks, off of just what's in that bag. And that's a lifesaver. And I do believe everyone should have something like that, ready to go now. Because people will only be as civilized as they are equipped to be. Once you are so thirsty you feel like you're going to die, so hungry you feel like you're going to die, and you don't know how you're going to survive, animal-like desperation takes over. The thing that I fear most having to defend myself from is not the psychopaths. I can handle them now. I fear having to defend myself against someone who's just desperate and doesn't know what else to do and is lashing out in violence to take so that they can survive. And that's why I'm putting out this video, trying to reach whoever will listen. Bad things are on the horizon. They keep coming around. Learn the lesson of history. Good times are coming. Bad times are coming too. Which is which we will not know until after it has been. Be prepared. Then you get to live your life without fear. I do not live in fear because I'm ready. My preparations are made. When things happen, I already know what I'm going to do. And so I continue to live my life living in the now and living for the future, knowing that my future will not be as dark as it could have been. Be ready. Hope you don't have to, but be ready.